The Way of Wisdom, a mosaic of resident stories by MorningStar Senior Living. Walk with the wise and become wise. Proverbs 13:20.
I'm Ivis Bird.
And my name is Dick Bird. I was born and raised in Pennsylvania near Pittsburgh, and also went to school there.
I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, and when I was 7, my dad was transferred over to Houston, Texas. I grew up in a Christian household, and my dad was an elder in the Presbyterian Church. We also had family over in Tennessee, and so it was fun to go on vacations from Houston, to go over to the countryside and roam all through and just be free. I just had a real free growing up and teenage life. So happy that I didn't want to become an adult.
I had a good college experience, but I did struggle a lot of things. I've learned over the years that how important it is, no matter what you're facing, that stick with it. Don't have a sense of what results need to be, but take them as they come. Over time, you're going to see a big difference. It's hard sometimes for young people, particularly in high school and so on. You just get so discouraged. But stay with it. If you know what you want to do and what you want to try to do, stick with it. Even if you can't measure the progress, believe it's there.
My first job was teaching here in Houston at the Kincaid School. So a total of 4 years of teaching, health, physical education, aquatics, all the sports. Booker T. Washington was the last place. It was during the early crossover time in Houston of integration. I was one of 5 people in an all-black middle school, high school, although I volunteered for that job. I won the kids over. I had them learn dance and learn a lot of new things that they'd never done before. And so the kids really worked with me, and it was a good year. It was a successful year. After that, I decided to go into social work. And so I worked for the Department of Health and Human Services. I wrote a 100-page manual to set up this regional program over 13 counties, and I learned that that was used even in other hospitals here in Houston.
When I went to college, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I flipped a coin and it came up science.
He majored in quantum physics, nuclear chemistry in grad school.
But I still hadn't stumbled on the thing that I would really like to do. And I was just filling my time. And so I moved from a number of things. As my first job was working for a subcontractor on the Saturn Space Project. And I really enjoyed that, and it was fun. I changed companies in Florida and went to Occidental while I was working there, and they were looking for somebody here in Houston that had some experience in the field and doing research and working in a lab and things like that. And during the time, I picked up a couple of patents. Of course, when you develop a patent, you immediately have to sign it over to the company. You don't get, I think they gave me $20 or something like that. But it was, one of them turned out quite well, was clarification of phosphoric acid. When it's mined in the field, there's a lot of impurities in there, which made it unusable for cattle feed. And so we were able to come up with a way to purify the acid so that it could be used in cattle feed. I've always considered myself a jack of all trades and a master of none. I guess you could call it adventure, trying to find out, what am I supposed to be doing? Well, I ended up with work experience that was just beyond anything I dreamed of. And they all added up. When you look at it after years, they all helped me coalesce to get where I really felt I needed to be.
Dick developed the Eastwood Clinic. He started that. He pulled people together to help him work with that, and then you called St. Luke's into that, and he is so humble. He's in the leadership, but he's quietly moving powerfully.
We tried to find common cause that other people could rally around. We never did this by ourselves. We may have provided some leadership and so on, but we never were the ones that did it per se. What we found in Eastwood was a lot of people that were willing to get involved. They wanted, but they didn't quite know how to do and what to do. And somewhere in there, the Lord gave us a gift to provide that kind of leadership.
We met in 1971, and we dated for 2 years. Dating is an archaic term. I guess nobody does that anymore. But we were married at Episcopal Church, the Redeemer. We were looking for a really deep church to get married into that was more than your regular church. There were a lot of broken people coming. And so many people were pouring into that church that they had households. The more stable people in the church opened their homes to the troubled people. We'd have prostitutes living with us, divorced people, young people who didn't know what they wanted to do with their lives, people who were on drugs, a lot of the flower children. It was amazing to watch people being healed through all the music. There was a real strong music ministry that was going on. We're still a part of that church. It's much smaller now, and it's still in the East End, and people are still deep in the Lord. We had a stepson, beautiful, beautiful young man, through Dick, when we were married. So we were trying after 10 years to have a baby, and we could not. I searched for 4 years to find a baby that we could have, and I traveled at different times in my job, and I would ask around, and we even tried international adoption. And so we finally found Brandon. I was 39, you were 46, so we became parents again. And we had raised Charlie through his teenage and all, our older son. And there was a gift to us. And we have a beautiful son who's now 39 years of age. So you never know what comes around one way and how it flowers out another way. God has always been important to me, as I said. It was important even as a young child. And I remember having kind of a sensation of a tapping on my left shoulder. I knew it was God, but I was called by God, and I thought, what does he want me to do? Does he want me to be a missionary? Is that how I'll get to know him more? And I finally got tired of the tapping, and I told God to leave me alone, but out. Never say that to the living God. So at the age of 21, I was over traveling in Europe by myself, and I recall how alone I was. And I remember standing there, and deep down within me, I heard, I'm with you, I'm here, you are not alone. And it was so astounding within me that I recognized that it was the living God, that all that tapping that had gone on through my teenage years, he was calling me to come to him, to let him love me, and me to love him. Faith is a living relationship with the living God. It's real. It makes a difference. All of my life has been trying to learn more about the Lord and to relate to him. I'm still learning.
I've got to credit that to God. That's one of the things that he's been teaching me over the years, these last years especially, that we're not called here to judge. We're called here to love. And loving means accepting people no matter what you think. It's hard not to judge. It's hard when you see somebody, particularly somebody that you feel like could probably do better if they just try this or try that. So, but that's a lesson I've learned, and it's been a hard lesson and a long lesson, but I think it's the important lesson. If you look to God and trust Him and say, you're the guy, I trust you, I believe you, I know you love me. If you lead the way, I'm going with you all the way, no matter what.
Because he needed to come to MorningStar, and because we've been together now 51 years, I wanted to come with him. This is a really good and safe place. I don't want to go and live away from him. I'm glad that I can come and live with him.
I am too.
Oh, I'm so glad you are. MorningStar
Is my home.
is my home.
MorningStar Senior Living.